I'd love to go a couple of days in a row without having to talk about a shooting of some sort, whether it involves cops or whether it involves just some fucking moron who can't cope properly. But, you know, you just can't sometimes. Them be the breaks, and these are the headlines, and we gotta talk about it. And the response that it's been so far, and now that it's been revealed that it's a white kid that did this, it's probably going to eventually shift back to race and white supremacy, but gun control is on the docket, because of course it is, but you might be surprised who's talking about gun control. No, you probably aren't. Anyways, 8 killed in mass shooting at Indianapolis FedEx facility. Actually, I think that would be 9 because he decided to install a sunroof in his skull, so would that be 9? Hopefully. 5 other are also injured and in various levels of stability at the hospital right now, so all of this sucks. I'm just trying to add a little bit of levity to it, but let's get into it. 8 people were shot dead and several other injured in a mass shooting at FedEx facility in Indianapolis Thursday night, according to authorities. The suspect, 19-year-old Brandon Hole. Yeah, we got a picture of him. He's a fucking real treat. FedEx says was a former employee, was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Craig McCart, Deputy Chief of Criminal Investigations at Indianapolis Metro Police Department, said at a Friday news conference he was armed with a rifle. Interesting. We'll get into this for a second. A bunch of different photos. This is actually, got to give ABC a little bit of credit because they put together quite a good article. It's fairly comprehensive and it's light on politicization. So fucking good for a change, I suppose. Oh, and look at, they even got diversity when it comes to body bagging people. When officers arrived at the FedEx facility near Indianapolis Airport just after 11 p.m., this took place last night. They found a chaotic and active crime scene. That's weird because he was already done all of his shooting and barrel taste testing before the police even arrived. So I guess it's probably chaotic and active because 9 people are dead and 5 other were wounded. The suspect came to the facility, got out of his car, and pretty quickly started some random shooting outside the facility. There was no confrontation with anyone, McCart said. That began in the parking lot, and then he did go into the building. 4 victims were outside and 4 were inside, and another inside his mouth. 5 surviving victims suffered injuries consistent with gunshot wounds, and 2 others had minor injuries, probably, a couple of rolled ankles from fleeing. Hole last worked at FedEx in 2020. Okay. We can confirm that the perpetrator was a former employee at the facility, FedEx said. The company deferred further information to the police. More pictures. Police said they do not have a motive, but we probably do have a motive, actually, based on what has happened with Brandon prior to this. There are no indication that the shooting is connected to terrorism, 2 law enforcement officials told ABC News. But is it connected to white supremacy? That's what we really need to know right now. In March of 2020, we'll just get him off the screen. I don't think he needs any fucking publicity. Not like this channel would provide anybody any publicity. It's just my thoughts and feelings. In March 2020, Hole's mother contacted law enforcement to report he might try to commit suicide by cop. I think we have a motive. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that one out there. Paul Keenan, special agent in charge of the FBI Indianapolis field office, said in a statement. So the feds were on this case. The feds knew about this. And what did they do about it? Well, they actually took a shotgun that he had purchased away from him. And therefore, he wouldn't have been able to purchase any other firearms. That is very important to note. The suspect was placed in an immediate detention mental health temporary hold by the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. So the system worked for a time. A shotgun was taken from Hole's home, and based on items observed in the suspect's bedroom at the time, he was interviewed by the FBI in April of 2020. Interesting. I would like to know what they found. Oh, thank God. No racially motivated violent extremism ideology was identified during the course of the assessment, and no criminal violation was found, Keenan said. The shotgun was not returned to the suspect. Which, okay, fine. Those are the laws that are already on the books, okay? If you're a violent offender, if you are determined by the courts to not be mentally fit in order to possess a firearm, those are 2 stipulations that you cannot purchase a firearm under, okay? So how did he get a hold of a rifle? Interesting. About 100 employees were in the vicinity of the FedEx facility at the time of the shooting. According to the company, many employees were changing shifts or they were on their dinner break at the time. So probably where they had max congregation, Buddy would have known this at the time. So that would have just been the most appropriate time for him to come in and collect the amount of bodies that he needed to. I don't know. Clearly, okay, that wasn't that long ago, right? March of 2020. It's still a year ago, but he's been placed under mental care, okay? He had his firearms taken away from him, and he shot up a place with a rifle. What does that tell you, okay? Does that scream we need more gun control? Well, clearly the system didn't work. Clearly the laws that were already on the books failed the 8 people who were dead, the 5 other people who were shot, and the 2 goofs who tripped trying to run away. Do you think more laws would help? And if you did, which ones would those be? I don't understand. Are you going to do pre-crime? Like, okay, they already took away his right to purchase firearms, but he still managed to get something. So he broke another law in order to get it. So what are we doing? There's no proper way to address this with legislation. Okay? So what, this kid presents himself as a danger in March. It's not properly followed up on. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. Nobody is. And I'm not going to allow him to play the victim card on this. Okay, if you're looking at everything through a leftist lens right now, if you're listening to the mainstream narrative, everything is the white male's fault, right? And the straight white male's fault. Oh, it's all your problem. All the bad things in life are 100% on your plate, and you need to atone for those sins. If you believe that, you're retarded, and if you try to victimize yourself because of that, you're equally as mentally deficient. There's nothing at 19 years of age, which was how old this ET-headed cretin was. There's nothing at 19 years of age that cannot be remedied given enough time, okay? Nothing in the current climate. And listen, okay? Just because FedEx, you lost your job, okay? Let's just say, for whatever reason, okay? It says here at the bottom, FedEx is the largest employer in the city. It's the 2nd largest FedEx Express hub in the world. Okay, it's like one of those old towns where the mine would be everything to it, and you lost your job at the mine. Okay, guess what? There's other places you can go. There's other jobs you can get. You don't have to let one setback define your entire life. And clearly his mother was trying to take care of him. Okay, he had the means to remedy his situation. He was put under mental care. People were trying to look after him, and he just took motives into his own hands. We'll see what the investigation turns up, but trying to decipher what somebody who was that mentally unhinged, who thought that killing a bunch of people would somehow remedy his situation, is next to impossible. And somebody who does not have a psychological degree, I can't properly parse it out, even just at a little bit of a level. All I can think is this kid was internalizing all of the different influences from outside of his life, and they're trying to spin it into the way where he was just going to be a perpetual victim and that nothing would ever be better for him. But I could be way off base, but that's just what I'm thinking it is. But if you get to the crime itself, okay, he was not allowed to have a gun. He broke several laws leading up to the shooting, not even including the 8 people's lives who he took, which is a 100% tragedy. Okay, and the 5 other people who are going to be carrying this tragedy along for the rest of their life as well, and the other people who would have witnessed the stuff as well. So dozens of people were affected in this. But again, what laws would stop this that are still constitutional, that makes sense? Okay, oh, we need common sense gun control. Oh, we need more universal background checks. That wouldn't have helped. That would not have helped this situation. And then you got these out-of-touch motherfuckers who just have their fucking 70 IQ takes pop out. Oh, we need more gun control. Don't you see all the different mass shootings that are happening around the place? Even though they're just cherry-picking their different instances without addressing the heart of the problem. That a problem is rarely solved by more government, okay? It's normally created by government. And then it's normally solved by individuals and the private sector. Notable exception is big tech, obviously, but you got Hollywood celebrities renew push for gun control following the FedEx shooting. It's a national disgrace. That's how I'd describe Hollywood, but let's hear them out. Let's see what they have to say. Hollywood celebrities are renewing their push for gun control following a shooting at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis, which reportedly left 8 people dead late Thursday. The gunman committed suicide at the scene, according to reports. I always give him a round of applause for at least not taking up another bed in prison. Show business elites, including Julianne Moore's haggard ass, Bette Midler. Ugh, why couldn't she be a little bit more hands-on in those fucking bathhouses back in the day? Alyssa Milano's crazy ass. And Stephen King, blockheaded individual. Congratulations, you wrote a bunch of good books, but you have really shitty takes. Are urging lawmakers to take action. It's a national disgrace. What is that, the third or fourth Baldwin brother? Billy Baldwin. Celebrities have ramped up their drive for more gun control following shootings in Atlanta and Boulder. But why, and what would they propose? Many of the stars cheered last week when President Joe Biden announced a new set of executive orders that include new restrictions on ghost guns and push for red flag laws, which I'd love for any of them to define what a ghost gun is and what are like red flag laws. And how would this FedEx shooting have been stopped with more gun control? Who knows? Who knows? Unless they just want to get rid of every gun ever and only allow their private security to carry. Because everybody who's calling for more gun control, oh yeah, their perimeter's totally secure, 100%. They just want to live in a state where they can rule from atop their ivory tower, just like it is in fucking cartel-controlled Mexico, where it's like, oh, okay, we can afford the armed guards, but the peasantry? No, they can fight it out amongst themselves. Julianne Moore demanded elected officials take action to assure that fewer guns are on the street. Yeah, she tweeted out this mass shooting map. Oh, okay, Evanston, Illinois, Essex, Maryland, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Oh yeah, that was the football player, the numbnuts who fucking killed himself because football head injuries, right? Atlanta, the Coomer shooter. We could name the rest of them if we want, but we're kind of missing there's a big Chicago gap right there, but I guess you probably don't have enough space for all the print that you need. Or, okay, just because this is 2021, how about Minnesota in the George Floyd Autonomous Zone, where a couple of people have died there, and there's shootings nightly. Oh, okay, what about New York City? How about that one? Los Angeles? Oh, you got Orange, California, but yeah, why don't you just go a little bit further and highlight Los Angeles? No, you just want your cherry-picked examples. Notice how, okay, Indianapolis, that's a blue city. Maryland, blue state. Rock Hill, South Carolina, might be might be one exception. Atlanta, come on, Keisha Lance Bottoms, get out of here. Boulder, Colorado, 80% white, or no. That's the state, but Boulder, Colorado, overwhelmingly Democratic, like at a 70% clip. Weird, huh? Some of the most stringent gun control measures are in place in Colorado, but, oh right, we won't really talk about that shooting because, yeah, that white shooter ended up being a Syrian immigrant. Yeah, Anyways, moving right along. Bette Midler tweeted out, nobody cares because it's just more ramblings of a fucking septuagenarian. Let me say this, there is something seriously wrong with a country that allows itself to be terrorized by men with guns and does absolutely nothing to resist. Please feel free to give up your men with guns. Stephen King sought an opportunity to draw inspiration for a new character in one of his new books. Something has to be done about guns in this country. There have to be safeguards against crazy people and angry people getting them and using them. Yeah, he broke laws to get them. And he broke laws when he shot and killed those people. So you think more laws? More murder laws? That'd be a good thing? Oh my god. Why don't you just write another scene where a kid gets raped, you fucking creep? Luke Skywalker has a pretty decent take, actually. More gun violence, thoughts and prayers, nation mourns, politicians do nothing, rinse repeat. More gun violence, thoughts and prayers, so on and so forth until your character limit was out. Fair enough. You can take that as two ways. You can say that as, oh yeah, politicians aren't doing anything, or they're just the cycle of virtue signaling over and over again. So, not too bad. But yeah, as you can see, the fucking takes just continue to get more and more retarded. Just from these people who don't understand that every set that they're on, that their homes, that their neighborhoods are protected by these big scary men with guns, and that gun control is not going to help anything. Just ask them to define something. If you're on Twitter, if you're on one of these outlets that Julianne Moore, Bette Midler, Stephen King, Alyssa Milano, but she doesn't allow anybody that she's not following to reply to any of her tweets, but just ask them to define ghost guns. Just ask them to define red flag laws. What gun control measures would have prevented this from happening? I'd love to hear it, but They don't know what they're calling for. They just want to feel important because 2020 and 2021 have been a big fucking hit. And when was the last time Julianne Moore was in anything anybody's seen anyways? These are just a bunch of old people with old ideas that, as Mark Hamill points out, it's just a cycle that perpetuates itself right into the ground. And what a perfect analogy for Hollywood in and of itself. With that said, we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about as well, and I will be getting on with it. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.